What up, YouTube? Pistol Packin' Pilot, Triple P back with another video. Today, we are talking about stopping your threat. We have multiple different calibers. 380, 357 Magnum, 9mm, 357 SIG, and the mighty 45. Of all of these calibers and different handguns, which one of these calibers is best suited to stop the threat? Drop me a comment right now, right this second in the comment section with your guess. We're about to tackle it. Let's see how close you get. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Triple P is back. All of these guns are obviously clear. None of them obviously had anything in them. That would be irresponsible. All of these guns were also safety checked prior to coming to film this video. So, that being said, we have multiple different handguns here right now, with multiple different calibers. The mighty 380. The ever so popular 9mm. How about a 357 SIG? The hot rod 357 Magnum. And sometimes when short, fat, and slow gets the job done, the 45 ACP. Which one of these calibers is best suited to stop your threat? All of them. And none of them. I will explain. Handguns suck at killing people. Obviously, killing somebody is not ever our intention, right? You never want to do that, but it sometimes is an unfortunate, sad result when you have to stop the threat. And if you're coming down to the point where you have to actually use some type of deadly force, ladies and gentlemen, obviously, you are having a very, very bad day. And it would probably be wise if you make sure your day doesn't get any worse and the bad guy starts having a worse day than you. The most important factor is, and it doesn't matter if you're using this little old tiny 380 or if you're using the mighty 45 ACP. Shot placement. The idea behind stopping your threat is you want to turn the lights out as quickly, as efficiently, and as effectively as you possibly can. Now, we generally train to shoot center mass. Why do we train to shoot center mass? Well, we do that because that's your biggest target. You shoot for center mass because the chest is big. You've got a very easy target that's hard to miss. That is the best way to score good, solid hits. Here's the problem. When you shoot somebody with a handgun center mass, you can put 3 or 4 really good hits on target, but that bad guy has not stopped fighting. That bad guy could have a crowbar, he could have a baseball bat, he could have a knife, and he very well may be a dead man fighting. But it's going to take him 30 to 60 seconds potentially to bleed out. That's 30 to 60 seconds that bad guy is slicing and dicing you, turning you into Swiss cheese. The idea is not only to efficiently and effectively stop the threat. The idea, ladies and gentlemen, is to fucking survive it. Because what good is it if you've stopped your threat and you're now pushing up daisies 6 feet underground as well? I am a very strong proponent of the T-box shot. That shot is not the easiest shot in the world to make. It essentially goes from the eyes down to just below the bridge of the nose, or just below the nose, and kind of forms a letter T. Why is that T-box shot so effective, and how does it work? Any of these calibers, ladies and gentlemen, will instantly turn the lights off. They're all just as effective, provided your shot placement is on target. The T-box is very, very vital. What's behind it is primarily the brain stem, in particular, the medulla oblongata. When you penetrate the face with a projectile, even if it's this little tiny 380, it expands and it creates a shock wave. It creates a cavity. And as that cavity travels through its target, it utterly and completely obliterates and disintegrates everything in its path. The reason you want to place that round through the T-box is because the medulla oblongata is responsible for consciousness. It's responsible for our heart rate, which of course also controls our breathing and our blood pressure. Also is the occipital lobe, and the occipital lobe, when it's destroyed, completely disables your vision and your perception. The cerebellum is very nearby as well, and when that gets rocked, it pretty much controls all of your coordination and movement. So when you get a shot into the T-box, it disintegrates everything within that cavity. It's creating all kinds of havoc as that projectile passes through the brain. And your body, it immediately goes into a state known as flaccid paralysis. So what not that kind of flaccid, but what flaccid paralysis is, ladies and gentlemen, is it basically is instantaneous paralysis. There's not even any involuntary muscle spasms that are possible. Even if it's a bad guy with a hostage, with his finger on the trigger, as soon as that projectile enters the T-box, they have no ability whatsoever to pull that trigger. It is literally instant lights out. So let's talk about a 9mm projectile for a minute. One of the most common rounds there is, right? Standard 9mm hollow point. So this bullet is traveling at an average velocity of probably around 1,200 to 1,250 feet per second, depending on how hot it's loaded. And the bullet is actually supersonic. When the bad guy is shot, his last cognitive thought that goes through his head is looking down the barrel of your gun. With this bullet traveling at a supersonic speed, he will not even hear the shot because the lights are out by the time the sound reaches him. That's how effective this technique is. So that obviously is a little bit of the science of why I am a strong proponent of the T-box shot. Most certainly never, ever, ever because you want to kill somebody. It's to stop the threat. And God forbid, if you have to use one of these, ladies and gentlemen, to stop a threat, besides the fact that you're having a really bad fucking day, you want to survive it. I don't want that bad guy fighting with me for 30 to 60 seconds while he's bleeding out from 3 or 4 good hits right into the chest. I want to go home. I want to go back and see my family. And obviously, you need to take all firearm safety considerations into effect, like, knowing what is beyond your target, your backstop, because you know what's attached to every single one of these bullets, right? Attached to every single one of these rounds is a lawyer. Every single one. Every time you pull that trigger, there is a lawyer on the end of that bullet following it. Think about that. But by the same token, think about surviving. And if the bad guy gives you a shot at the tee box, for the love of God, take it. If it's bad enough where you have to shoot him in the chest, it's bad enough where you should be able to score a tee box hit and be able to make sure you're not going to get sliced and diced with his knife while he's bleeding out and you still get to go home. Obviously, if we're talking about rifles and if we're talking about shotguns to center mass, the rules change. We're talking about a whole different beast at that point. A 12 gauge, 3-inch double-aught buck to the chest is going to do some major fucking damage. I mean, you're literally going to rip the guy's heart out and place it at the other end of the room. If you're shooting the guy with a rifle, I mean, that projectile is coming in at well over 2,000 feet per second. Even with this hot little 357 Magnum, it just doesn't have the velocities to be able to instantly stop a threat the way that a shot to the tee box does. We're talking handguns right now. We're not talking long guns. We're not talking shotguns or rifles. We're talking handguns. And handguns suck at stopping threats for the most part. I promise you it does not happen like they show in Hollywood. You don't shoot somebody in the chest and he flies back 4 or 5 feet and he's laying on the ground saying, "Ugh, you got me." That's not how shit works. The guy is in fight mode. And when you shoot him, he's going to continue to fight until he can physically no longer fight. You have to make sure that you don't allow that to happen. I want each and every one of you to be able to defend yourself adequately. Please go out there and train. I know it's expensive right now because ammo is expensive, but go out there and train and practice headshots. Aim small, miss small. If you're using one of those big standard police silhouette targets and it's got the little bullseyes in the top right-hand corner and the top left-hand corner, that's about yay big, shoot for the little bullseyes. If you can hit that at 7 yards and you can do that consistently, you can take a tee box shot all day long, any day of the week and twice on Sunday. If there was anything that I said that you found useful in this video, I always appreciate the like and the subscribe. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. I am the Pistol Packing Pilot, and I am out. See ya.